Hello fellow tea lovers, welcome to my channel. I'm not going to do the whole welcome back. Nobody's really coming back except for maybe my friend Gab, so if you're watching, hi. Because by the time that I post this, all of my old videos are probably going to be gone. Just so we're clear, I have not posted a YouTube video in over 2 years. I got bored, it was a lot of work, I didn't feel like doing it, but this particular topic has gotten me so mad. I literally spent days watching all the different drama channels, keeping up on social media, all of these things, and I'm so in awe of what has been going on that I desperately felt the need to make a video. So here I am after over 2 years to talk about this. Yes, it is Jamie Lynn Spears versus Britney Spears, the very public feud that has been going on the past couple of days. So let's get into it. So if you clicked on this video, you probably already know, but just in case you don't, Jamie Lynn Spears and her big sister Britney Spears have been having a pretty public feud as of recent. Britney has said things in the past since going to court to dissolve her conservatorship last year. But as of recent, she has been really outspoken as to the terrible treatment of from Jamie Lynn because of her new book, Things I Should Have Said. I'm not including a picture, I'm not giving her promo. It doesn't deserve it. Not that I read it, but I just know it doesn't. So as of recently, Jamie Lynn Spears has been doing a lot of different interviews and PR for her book, Things I Should Have Said, that she claims is a testimony to all of the traumas and hardships that she went through, which I'm not going to discuss in this video, just because no. There's too much. I'm not saying that she didn't go through her own trials and tribulations and traumas, because I do think so, but the predominance of the book has to do with her second mother, Britney Spears, not being there for her during her hard times. So I've heard from people that have read the book, that have read excerpts of the book, and even just from Jamie Lynn's interviews from the book, talking about things that she spoke about in the book. That's pretty much what it is. Woe is me, my big sister did this and this and this, and now I'm sad. Blah blah blah. So she started off with her Good Morning America interview that was, in my opinion, a little biased, to be more sympathetic towards Jamie Lynn. Again, not discrediting her own experiences, because I do think that she talked about some things in there that were very real, very valid. But as a whole, it was very sympathetic to a cause that she doesn't deserve sympathy for. Specifically in that interview, she had mentioned a story in which Britney locked Jamie Lynn in a room with her, and she said, "Baby, I'm scared," and she was holding a knife. She described her as erratic, paranoid, always kind words for a sister that you care so much about, right? Following the two-part interview, and I think there was a third part on Nightlife, or maybe the second part was on Nightlife, I don't know, they dragged that out. Britney took to Twitter, she posted a long thing, I'm not going to read it. Again, I'm assuming that you're here because you already know all of this stuff, because this video is getting specifically into the latest development in this story, but pretty much saying that she had 104 fever, she was happy that she did, because she was so sick that she couldn't even care. She called out Jamie Lynn specifically for lying about a few instances, specifically the knife one. Pretty much went on to say that Jamie Lynn was never there for her. There were some exchanges back and forth between the two of them. The past couple of days, Jamie Lynn pleaded with her to stop doing things on a public platform, as if she didn't write a book for a public platform. But okay. So then we get into last night. I'm filming this, well, it's technically Wednesday now, but it's pretty much Tuesday, so Monday at midnight, or starting to, you know what I mean. The Call Me Daddy podcast with Alex Cooper was uploaded, and she has Jamie Lynn Spears as her guest to to talk about her new book and all of the struggles she had as Britney Spears' younger sister, and blah blah blah. Again, I'm not getting into specifics with sympathy and whatever for her. First of all, I think it's really interesting that Alex Cooper now has her comment section off too, as of right now. On her old post, she doesn't, but on any of her posts pertaining to Jamie Lynn, she now has the comment section off, which I think is really interesting, because if you made this decision to put her on your podcast, why are you hiding from commentary? Isn't that your job, first of all, to comment on other people, to interview and, get out what the people should know? So why can't the people then respond to your journalism, I guess, if that's what you want to call it? Not that Call Me Daddy is a reputable journalism source, but you know what I mean. If you're an interviewer, that is your job, and so and especially on such a public platform, you should be able to then take in criticism, not only on your decision, but your journalism in general, because I think that, part 2 is supposed to be out. They said Wednesday. It is technically Wednesday, so I don't know when it's going to be out, but she didn't really get into a lot of the burning questions thus far that the people want Jamie Lynn to be asked. We want her on the hot seat. At this point in time, there has now been 3 people that have accused Jamie Lynn of lying in this book. Firstly was Alexa Nicholas, former co-star on Zoe 101. She played Nicole. She did an interview with Sloan, one of my favorite channels, and said that anything that had mentioned her in the book was a lie, and she found it really offensive, I guess. She had brought her mom into it. It was weird. She was still complaining about stuff that happened when they were like 12 years old. Meanwhile, Alexa Nicholas has been very outspoken as of recent. Just to the bullying that went on the set of Zoe 101 that she said specifically came from Jamie Lynn Spears, as well as Victoria Justice, who she thinks started all of these things that were mentioned in the book. She said she has no idea about half of them. She never even heard half of the alleged rumors that she had made up. So that was number 1. Obviously, Britney is number 2. She has said specific things that were a lie. The third person to come out and say that Jamie Lynn Spears was lying about things cited in her book was Sam Lutfi. So Sam Lutfi was Britney's former manager in 2007 and 2008 when, stuff was going down. He has, as of now, threatened legal action against Jamie Lynn Spears for defamation of character in her book. According to Popcorn's Planet, which is another really great channel that you should check out. I'll probably cite the videos that I'm referencing in the comments below. He was called a master manipulator in Jamie Lynn's book, and again, according to Popcorn's Planet, who apparently can find better sources than me, he, in 2017, went to Lynn Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears regarding Britney's conservatorship, saying that he wanted to help get her out, and they said, you, just kept saying how Britney was still crazy, which I think is really interesting, and again, a testament to Jamie Lynn Spears' true intentions with this book. And then they filed a restraining order against him. Now, this is a very he said, she said situation, and realistically, we weren't there, so we don't know. So this is alleged, again, alleged. Just, gotta cover my bases. But he was number 3 to say that Jamie Lynn Spears was lying about specific situations and circumstances in her book, which just isn't a great look for her. Jamie Lynn was on the Call Me Daddy podcast. I really found it so useless. I watched the whole thing, to my own dismay. First of all, pretty much every question that she asked, she deflected, kind of. She, kind of answered it, but she kind of said something that really didn't answer the question at all. And Alex Cooper is just like, that must be really hard for you, Or she said, I don't know, I don't recall, I blocked this part out, I was really disassociating at this time, I don't know. But, why are you writing about it then, if you don't know? That's my thing. If you have your traumas and your stories to tell, and you want to put that out there, that's great. First of all, wait 5 years when Britney's, one, actually free, and two, when she's not at the height of people trying to support her, so it doesn't look like you're doing this for money, to profit off of your sister's 13 long, horrible years of her life when she had no freedoms whatsoever. And number two, talk about things that you actually know the answers to. Because not every, but a lot of the questions that Alex Cooper asked her, she just kept saying she didn't know, so why are you writing about something that you don't know? Why? And I can tell you why I think it is, and why everybody seems to think that it is, and that's because she didn't write the book. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, this may come as a shock to you, but it seems that she had some help from who? My guess, and everybody else's guess, Lou Taylor. If you don't know Lou Taylor, you're a lucky person. She was formerly Britney's manager. She works for Teamstar. They had they were heavily involved in Britney's conservatorship, and it's alleged, that they were profiting off of Britney during this time in her life, the 13 years that she was in the conservatorship. Jamie Lynn Spears is still under her and loves her and says they have a mother-daughter relationship and she's the best person in the world, and nobody cared about her, but Lou Taylor cared about her when everybody else cared about Britney, blah, 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 blah. This woman was responsible for putting your sister in a 13-year conservatorship when she had absolutely no rights over her money, over her body, over her kids, over her actions, anything that she did, her social media, when she left the house. But she's the best, right? So she had mentioned, I don't recall what interview it was, but in one of her interviews, she said that Lou Taylor was a very integral part in the writing of her mother's book, which is another story that I'm not talking about because it just gets me angrier. So who's to say that she didn't have a say in what Jamie Lynn was writing? Perhaps they're trying to spin a narrative that makes them look not so bad for putting Britney in a 13-year conservatorship when she's, threatening legal action against them. Because, look, this is her sister, and she's saying that she was keeping her locked in a room with a knife, and she was erratic and paranoid, and all of these wonderful things. Obviously, Jamie Lynn cared very deeply about her sister. So, who's to say that that's not what's going on here? Because you have to remember, too, again, I'm assuming that you're watching this because you're caught up on everything. It is alleged that Jamie Lynn Spears was also profiting off of the conservatorship. In her Good Morning America interview, she discusses how Britney asked her to be responsible for her will and trust so that her boys get money in case she dies. But when people started to question, some inconsistencies with the money and stuff like that, Jamie Lynn Spears stepped down. Because where was the money going, Jamie Lynn? You don't seem to know. But then again, you apparently know nothing that you're talking about, so not surprising. But I'm gonna stop with the interview, stop bashing Jamie Lynn, but do know that I totally, the second that it is out, I'm going to watch part 2 of the Call Me Daddy podcast, so you don't have to, because she's looking for views and clicks, because what better time to put Jamie Lynn Spears on, because nobody else would care at any other point than when she's fighting with Britney Spears, who everybody loves and adores and wants to support. So we're not going to give her those clicks, but I will watch it. I'll probably post my commentary like the second that it's done, just because, yeah, we're not giving it views. But now I'm going to get into what has happened recently. So TMZ reported a couple hours ago that Britney is now threatening legal action against Jamie Lynn as well for defamation of character, which I just think icing on the cake. This news came a couple of hours after she posted something regarding the Call Me Daddy Part 1 interview that I'm going to read to you now, just because I love the fact that she posted this, and I'll attach it somewhere on the screen. So in the Call Her Daddy interview, Jamie Lynn talks about Britney's relationship with Justin Timberlake and how Justin Timberlake was like a second dad to her and she loved them and they sheltered her and blah blah blah, and she was so sad when they broke up. Like, Britney was so heartbroken, but she was so sad for herself. So this is in regards to that. I flew home to Jamie Lynn on the couch, watching her TV shows right after Justin and I broke up. I was a ghost there. I'd worked my whole life, and I didn't know how to be served by Mama. Sit there and get served the chocolate milkshakes with the perfectly crushed ice with the secret chunky sugar. Meanwhile, Jamie Lynn is 12. She indulges with the TV for hours, then goes to lay out on a raft at the pool. I'm in shock because this was never my life. Justin's family was all I knew for many years. Things were different now, and Jamie Lynn had a new Nickelodeon show. All I remember is saying, "Damn, how the hell does a 12-year-old land a Nickelodeon show?" We know how 12-year-old Jamie Lynn landed a Nickelodeon show, and that's because, Britney, out of the kindness of your heart, you chose to cameo on All That when Jamie Lynn was looking to get on the show. Then magically she did. You did some cameos, yada yada. Dan Schneider thinks she's this big star, aka she has your last name, and then you get a Nickelodeon show. Allegedly. Well, I never got my iced chocolate drink. I mean, yeah, I'm grown up, right? But then maybe I might need a little support. It was a People magazine cover. The people show up, and as Jamie Lynn says, I was scared. F yeah. My mama was on, a word that I can't say on YouTube, but it rhymes with hills. Yeah. And could barely hold a conversation in the house because her and my dad split, and she was more messed up than anything. I remember her sitting on the floor in a conversation and she never got up. And I'm sorry, Jamie Lynn, I wasn't strong enough to do what should have been done. Slapped you and Mama right across your effing faces. I just want to comment on that. I feel like I've seen people confused by the fact that she brings up these random stories in the midst of, like, stories of the past. So, when she was talking about the Good Morning America interview, she was talking about how she was really sick and she kept bringing that up and she couldn't get medication. And then there was another post that she made and she kept talking about how she wasn't being allowed to have coffee. On this one, she talks about the chocolate milk and how Jamie Lynn got chocolate milk and she didn't get chocolate milk. All of these, like, little, I don't know if motif is the right word. She makes these central themes in the post that have nothing to do with the main message of the post, but they do all at the same time. So she keeps bringing up this chocolate milk just to show that something as simple as, like, a chocolate milk, like Jamie Lynn was served that, and Britney got nothing as she was working really hard. And it's just a testament to the fact that Jamie Lynn is not only exaggerating, but she's also just such a brat that it's unreal. So I just needed to mention that because the fact that she posted that, legendary. So now we're going to get into the lawsuit a little bit more now that I went on that tangent. So earlier today, like I said, TMZ reported that Britney Spears was threatening legal action against Jamie Lynn Spears, just like Sam Lutfi, for defamation of character, for spewing lies, and honestly, the note that her lawyer sent, which really was coming from Britney, was the nicest cease and desist I've ever seen in my whole life. So I'm going to put it somewhere on the screen as well. We'll read it together, just because I hate when people read me things and I can't read it at the same time. It starts off, Jamie Lynn Spears, cease and desist letter, things I should have said, the title of her stupid book. Dear Miss Spears, as you know, I represent your sister Britney Spears, and I write at her request concerning the above referenced matter. We write with some hesitation because the last thing Britney wants is to bring more attention to your ill-timed book and its misleading or outrageous claims about her. Although Britney has not read and does not intend to read your book, she and millions of her fans were shocked to see how you have exploited her for monetary gain. She will not tolerate it, nor should she. You of all people know the abuse and wrongdoing Britney had to endure during the conservatorship after initially growing up with a ruinous alcoholic father, which I think is really interesting that he called her out on that too, because in every interview she keeps saying, I didn't know about the conservatorship. I was a kid. You're not a kid anymore. This has been going on for 13 years, and you're telling me you were never aloof to the fact that something was wrong, but the rest of the world was? Sorry, I'm going to keep reading. In fact, your own book reportedly states that your father spent most of my life in that circle of ruinous behavior. His bouts of drinking caused me periods of torment and sorrow. As I've previously stated, having endured a 13-year conservatorship that stripped her of her civil rights and fundamental liberties, Britney will no longer be bullied by her father or anyone else. Britney was the family's breadwinner, and she also otherwise supported you. Publicly airing false or fantastical grievances is wrong, especially when designed to sell books. It's also potentially unlawful and defamatory. Michelle Obama famously said, when they go low, we go high, and to Britney's great credit, that is exactly what Britney is going to do for the time being. You recently reportedly stated that the book was not about her. She takes you at your word, and we, therefore, demand that you cease and desist from referencing Britney derogatorily during your promotional campaign. If you fail to do so or defame her, Britney will be forced to consider and take all appropriate legal action. Your representatives may contact me if they have any questions. Sincerely yours, Matthew S. Rosengart, who is now the head of Britney's legal team. First of all, that is the nicest cease and desist I've ever read in my whole life. And the fact that she is able to still be the bigger person in this situation, as Jamie Lynn is blabbing her mouth, slandering her left and right, is honestly incredible to me. And I actually, in a weird way, not even in a weird way, I find it almost like empowering and like inspiring, because they do not deserve her to be the bigger person. Like, you have to be so strong to still be the bigger person. But I do also want to point out that somebody on Twitter I saw did a count of how many times Britney was referenced in the book, and it was somewhere around 190. And Sister was referenced like 100 times, and the book is 240 pages long. So while I understand that, like, Britney definitely was an integral part of Jamie Lynn's life, that is her sister, and, you know, for a time, like, Britney was famous and Jamie Lynn was not, and that caused a lot of new things to happen for Jamie Lynn, and that was a big part of her life for a good amount of time. I understand that, but then don't go out and say that the book isn't about her when you mention her 190 times. And then continue to do promotional campaigns and repeatedly mention her and air out her traumas to millions of people. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, Britney is a strong, really nice queen who does not deserve this. And I feel really bad for her because I'm like losing my voice, sorry. I feel really bad for her because they're taking advantage of the fact that they know that she'll be the bigger person, but now that she's starting to speak out and even threaten legal action, and I hear there's talks that she might be on Oprah soon, which that would be really cool. She's finally stopping that from happening. She's not letting that happen. She's using her voice. She's still being a bigger person. She's going about this in such a graceful way. But, like, she's still getting her point across, which I just think is really fantastic for her. So I'm gonna end that here. I'll probably post again tomorrow when the Call Me Daddy interview with Trashy Lynn Part 2 comes out. So if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, all the things, notifications. Give the ghost a like, I guess. What was I gonna say? So yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, and yeah, bye.